Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Good afternoon
Hello.
slash good morning slash good evening,
Hello.
depending on where in the world you are. It's wonderful that you've joined us. Thank you so much for doing so. People are streaming in from the waiting room, so I'm going to make a start. And if anyone else joins, then that is very wonderful. Brilliant. Well, season's greetings from Oxford to all of you. I'd like to start actually by saying a huge congratulations because the reason you're on this call is because you have been offered a place to join the Oxford Executive Diploma in AI for Business, Stream 1 2025. We are, believe it or not, less than a month away from your first module. And this is an event that will hopefully prepare you over what will be, in some ways, hopefully a peaceful and relaxing period of the festive break at the end of the year, but also hopefully a productive one as you prepare to start your Oxford journey. So I'm sure most, if not all of you know me. I'm Joe Parton. I think I've spoken to all of you at some point. I've met a few of you even in person, which is wonderful. This really is the call where I hand over to the next important person. And now I would argue the most important person in your Oxford journey, which is your program manager, Hilary O'Hare, who will shortly be giving you a practical overview of her role as program manager and what you need to do to prepare for Module 1 beyond. So I'll be handing over to her shortly. I'm also joined by our Head of Program Services, Jonathan Dawson, that will be sharing a exciting update about the faculty and what that will look like for your program. And then my colleague Pagan Aspinall, who is part of our recruitment team, is also on the call monitoring the chat. I know a number of you would have spoken to Pagan as well. So without further ado, let's start the session. I think many of you are here. So what is this session going to look like? Here's an agenda and a few ground rules, if that doesn't sound too strict. So welcome to the class. I'm going to be giving you some information about what your class will look like. I'll hand over to Jonathan for an update on your co-program directors, and then you will be able to meet Hilary, your program manager. After all of that, there'll be lots of information. I'm sure that you already have questions and you might also think of some new questions. So please save those to the Q&A session at the end. And then after the Q&A session, we're going to finish the session with a networking activity to help you to get to know your class. A few rules. I know that most of you have done this already, which is brilliant. If you're able to, please turn your camera on. We'd love to see your faces, but please also mute your microphone when you're not speaking, just to minimize disruption. The chat is open, and so you can submit questions in the chat. You can also raise your hand to verbally ask a question. I'll ask, though, if you could wait until the Q&A session to ask most of your questions. Your question may be answered over the course of this event. Finally, this session is being recorded. If you arrived late, if you had to drop off early, and for the benefit of those people not able to attend, we are recording this. So please bear that in mind if you do ask a question or want to contribute to the event in any way. So, in the nature of this being an interactive session, I'd like to start the interaction. And I wondered if one or two of you wanted to raise your hand or unmute. I'm interested to learn about the aspect of the diploma program you're most looking forward to. I know a number of you are attending for different reasons. So who would like to kick things off today? And who would like to tell us one aspect of the diploma that you're most looking forward to? Over to one of you.
Someone
Joe,
will be brave.
start. Oh.
John, I noticed you're unmuted. Go for it.
Sure, certainly. So my name is John Clark. Multiple interest reasons. I suppose one is one of my roles is I'm a company chairman of a few companies. I'm just fascinated by what do boards need to do to adapt to the future of AI in business and industry.
Thank you, John. A brilliant start. Would somebody else like to follow with the aspect they're most looking forward to? Hi, Darius.
Hello, guys. I'm Derek. I'm just calling from Poland, and I'm responsible for development of a few companies as a co-investor, owner, and co-owner. And one of my company is delivering IT services around AI as well, and deep knowledge and deep AI. What I'm just looking for, definitely for new business models, what we can figure out maybe together around technology. how we could improve current businesses around AI. And I'm open not only for the, let's say, relationship between of us, but even maybe somebody would like to be a business partner with me or something like this. Quite a wide range of, let's say, needs and expectations. Definitely, I would like to share my knowledge regarding to AI projects worldwide. I have one of my companies deep implementation of AI in Rayjeni company responsible for image analysis and automatic description of the images. Let's see. I'm looking for new business models which, for example, change a little bit the world for the future, for positive.
Thank you, Darius. Brilliant. We have time for one more contribution. Anne-Marie, you have your hand up. Over to you.
Yeah, hi Joe, thank you. Hi everybody. I'm really looking forward to meeting new people, working with people from other cultures. I've been a lawyer in Amsterdam for 20 years now, so time for something new. I will also leave law and transition hopefully into some responsible AI role somewhere in Europe. So I'm hoping to make new friends and have new ideas. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Okay, thank you very much. The interaction is off and running. So I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking about something that Anne-Marie said she was excited for, which was meeting people from different parts of the world and different cultures, and tell you a bit more about what your class is going to look like. If you go into gallery mode, you'll be able to see what your class is starting to look like from all of the faces staring back at you. And so you are a group of 65 students representing 29 countries and traveling from 20 countries on 6 continents of Earth. You also represent 13 different industry sectors in a variety of roles and a variety of companies, from people starting their own businesses to CEOs, global directors, people from legal services, technology, healthcare, government, and so on and so on. So this is the global footprint of the class. Now, I should say this is where you are actually going to be traveling from for these modules. So well, less than half of you, but 40% are already in the UK. So a hopefully uninterrupted train journey for you from wherever you are to Oxford. We've got about 1 in 5 traveling across the Atlantic, and a similar spread in other parts of the world. There's some brave people traveling from the Southern Hemisphere, traveling much, much further distances, and I'm very grateful to all of you who are going to be making those 4 trips from further afield. But as well as diversity in terms of where you're from, it's also diversity of perspective. So here are some of the sectors that are represented in the class, some of the roles that you have. I've also included some of the companies. I did this once and somebody sent me a big complaint because I'd used the wrong logo for their company. The logo had just been updated. So if that's you, I'm very sorry. I've done my best. Also on the right-hand side, you'll see actually that although it says an experienced group, the average age is 42. You actually have a combined work experience between you of just under 1,200 years. And so we're bringing a very experienced group together, and you'll see from the right-hand side, there are people at different stages of their career, and hopefully there'll be a lot of thought leadership and lots of sharing and discussion in the class. So this is what it's looking like at the moment. And then this is a more practical slide, but hopefully quite a helpful one. So this is what your year will look like. So far, I've probably only shared the dates that you're going to be in Oxford. But that's, of course, only one part of your time on the programme, because I've also included here for each module when the assessment will be released and then when the deadline for that assessment will be. And the eagle-eyed will have noticed that the assessment date and the deadline are 10 days apart for modules 1, 2, and 3. And then for module 4, it's released before the module. That's your final assignment. You have 3 months to complete it. So the deadline there, the 12th of January, is actually the final thing you do as part of this diploma, even if you can think that far ahead to the 12th of January 2026. So this is what your year will look like. These slides and all of this information will be available on Canvas, which is the platform that Hilary will be telling you more about. And a note at the bottom there, results are released approximately 2 months after the deadline. This can slightly vary depending on the time of year and the module, but that should be the expectation roughly that you should set. Fantastic. Okay, I'm now going to hand over to Jonathan Dawson, who's going to provide you with an exciting update about next year's programme.
Thank you, Joe. Good afternoon, everyone. At least good afternoon from an Oxford perspective. So I wanted to introduce to you our two programme directors. The previous programme director, Felipe Tomas, is taking a sabbatical this year, but we're very fortunate to have been able to secure the services, the involvement of Professor Keja Hugh and Dr. Siddharth Arora as the two programme directors, joint programme directors for your cohort and the 2025 intake. If you want to look into their backgrounds, they're both on LinkedIn, they're both on the school website, and you can find chapter and verse there. From a personal point of view, speaking to them both, they're both really excited to be involved in the programme, and they're looking very, very much forward to engaging with you. They asked me to pass on their congratulations to you. As Joe said earlier, well done. It's not everybody who's accepted onto the programme. They are very excited, as I say, to be seeing you in January, and they're both going to be heavily involved in the modules and in the teaching. So Professor Keja will be heavily involved in the teaching for Module 1, and Dr. Siddharth will be heavily involved in the teaching for Module 2, although both will be present throughout and for the rest of the year. I think that's probably all I needed to say or wanted to say with regards to the programme directors. So I'll now pass you to Hilary O'Hare, who's the programme manager, who will be supporting you throughout your time in Oxford.
Hi everyone, my name is Hilary, and thank you to Joe and to Jonathan. I'm indeed your programme manager. Here is a lovely image of Oxford and its famous dreaming spires. I was born actually somewhere just below the trees on the left, and throughout my life amongst this ancient architecture, Oxford has been pioneering in some of the most transformative technologies of our time. The World Wide Web, while many think of it as originating in Silicon Valley, it was Oxford's own Sir Tim Berners-Lee who invented the foundation of the internet. And the coronavirus, well, its protein structure was unmasked here in Oxford just 3 days right at the beginning of the pandemic. So in so doing, it has enhanced and strengthened Oxford's traditional role as an international focus for learning and discovery. And in that vein, a diploma in AI is an appropriate course of study here at Oxford, and we can't wait to welcome you here. As programme managers, we are your cheerleaders. This is our last cohort. We are here to help you and are your first point of contact for most programme queries. So we generally operate behind the scenes, creating timetables, finalising logistics, liaising with faculty, and helping you, our students. So if you have any questions about your programme or your Oxford experience, please do get in touch with me. Now you've paid your deposit, I'm now your main point of contact, as Joe rightly said. During Module 1, other important people you will meet include, of course, our assessment team. They will be able to guide you with your assessments, which I will go into a bit further on down the line, but there's their email address. Other important people, of course, are always on hand to help you during your learning journey are the IT department. And of course, you've got here the library. So probably some important people you will want to write down their details for. Obviously, your main aim is to study for your Oxford Executive Diploma in AI for Business. but you'll also be forming a network of peers within your cohort with whom you will study and socialise. So we also encourage you to broaden that network within the SBS Diploma class of 2025, the school and its many students and centres, and of course the wider university. So after you've worked very, very hard, our alumni services will take you further, and that's their email address beckoning you in the future. So your learning journey, just like a trained, sophisticated AI model, your development requires rigorous input and constant refinement, as well as an unwavering commitment to learning. So over the coming months, you'll be challenged to think differently and to see learning not as a linear process, but as a complex, interconnected web of insights. So just as a neural network becomes more intelligent through continuous learning and adaptation, we hope so will you. So each of you brings unique experiences. And together, I think you'll create something far more powerful than any of you on your own could achieve. So much like our venerable buildings, the diploma is meticulously crafted. So before your arrival next month, full engagement with faculty selected readings will prepare you in advance. So that's your online pre-work. And these will be available online through our virtual learning platform, Canvas, which Joe has mentioned previously. These will be available online throughout your course. And we really do try to not just encourage you to not just read them, but know them as much as you can, and with as much focus, which will provide understanding for your Oxford teaching. In Oxford, there are 4 talk modules, of which Joe's slide detailed earlier. So to really cement your learning and engagement, all 4 modules are assessed through a written task, and there's one for each, as Joe pointed out. So assessments, modules 1 to 3 are assessed by a remote open book examination in which you're given, as Joe said, 1 week to write a response. And that's usually around, I think it's a 3,000 word limit. Whereas module 4 is assessed by a final integrative written assignment, also known as the FIA. And you'll be given this, and it will give you a more qualified, or ask you to give a more qualified answer. And it has a 6,000 word limit, and you'll have 3 months to engage with that. And it really is your chance to link your understanding with perhaps the industry that you currently work in or an organisation that you work in. The module elements, each diploma is 4 days. So if you could pull up the next slide, Joe. This is a typical day here at the Saïd Business School. And we'll have 4 days. So your modules will run from Tuesday to Friday. And we generally start around 9:30 UK time and wrap up around 5:30. Sessions are 90 minutes long. And between sessions, you'll have access to our club room for a networking break or our pyramid room for buffet lunches, which we all love. We do really want you to network. So each module will host a drinks reception on the first evening and a college dinner on the Thursday. So we're going to Trinity College for our first college dinner, which is one of Oxford's most prestigious colleges, right here in the heart of the city. So picture, if you will, a candlelit dinner in centuries-old college halls where 800 years of academic tradition will come alive. And Trinity is really one of my favourites. It's a progressive, dynamic college, and it supports really the widest diversity of talent. So as your programme manager, I will assist you during your time here at the Saïd Business School and advise you on the wider university and its policies and many procedures. But after the election of class representatives, I'll be able to receive and act on any feedback that you'd like to give, and we'll set some time for you to provide that. And whilst your attention will be on faculty and each other, I'll be busy bringing as much to your experience as possible on the ground. So I may have been born under the dreaming spires, but alas, I cannot do two things. One is bend university regulations, and the other is I cannot write your assignments for you. Not that you would want to. So your college, as part of your Oxford experience, you'll be an associate member of a college, and in this instance, you'll be associated members of Jesus College. Jesus College was established in 1571, which is practically yesterday by Oxford standards. It's led, rather excitedly, by Professor Sir Nigel Shadbolt, who, if you'd like to Google, you will find that he continues the very long tradition of producing global thought leaders. In fact, Shadbolt's research has been in artificial intelligence since the late 1970s, and he works on a broad range of topics from natural language understanding and robotics through to expert systems, computational neuroscience, memory, through to the semantic web and linked data. So really very appropriate for you. And your college association is a way to really broaden your Oxford experience and indeed your network. So we will invite you to social and academic events held by the college during the programme and to alumni events after graduation. Jesus Entrepreneurial Network hosts most events in Oxford and London, but some are indeed held abroad, so you will want to join their network. I think all of their events are deeply valuable. We will do a short tour of Jesus College in Module 1, which will allow you to pick up your key fobs and get to know your college. We'll also have a formal event with them later in the year. So here's the Oxford experience that awaits you. And it's not all algorithms and lectures, but yes, you'll engage in Oxford Union style debates and mingle with faculty and Oxford minds. But between your deep dives into AI and business strategy, you'll experience the magic which is Oxford life. So you can imagine balmy afternoons punting along the Trowell and the river's swans and dragonflies all around you as you navigate the historic waterways. We'll have a walking tour that will take you through the cobblestone streets and past the Bodleian libraries, where knowledge isn't just stored, but really does come alive. And every street with a plaque which witnesses the birth of world-changing ideas. Oxford has College Stone that really tells stories of innovation and discovery, and we hope you will drink it all in. We have the Botanic Gardens and its hot houses, as well as the sports club where Roger Bannister was the first person to run a mile in under 4 minutes. Maybe you can put that to the test. And of course, we've got some of the oldest museums in Europe, the Ashmolean and the Natural History Museum, which really does hold some extraordinary treasures. So you'll also be able, with your university card, to visit and get exclusive access to Oxford colleges. You just have to wave it at one of the porters and they should give you access if you ask nicely. Although beware the porters at Christchurch, who are gatekeepers of the ironclad kind. But if you're brave, they might let you in. But all of these world leaders and thinkers come together, and now you. So perhaps you'll meet your next business partner in one of our pubs. In fact, the King's Arms is my recommendation. You can it's got a claim to have more IQ per square meter than anywhere on earth. So perhaps you'll meet someone important there. But it's just a big warm welcome. to a program that is more than a diploma, and hopefully a transformative journey for you all, where you'll become both the learners and the learning. And a human neural network, I hope, is poised and reshaping businesses across the world for 2025.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Hilary. I know that a lot of information has been thrown at you, and hopefully a lot of it has been useful. I've noticed some activity in the chat as well, and we're going to be opening up for questions in a moment. But this slide is, yeah, your 6 steps for success between now and starting the program. Number 1 is the deposit payment. Until we've received this deposit payment, nothing afterwards can be unlocked, and your enrollment, your access to systems, emails, and everything after that, it can't happen. So if you're yet to make that initial payment, please do so as soon as you can. Any issues with that, please contact me. That's still my realm, so please let me know. Once that has been paid, and I'm sure many of you are in that position, then the next thing is, if required, please urgently look at getting visas sorted, book your travel and accommodation at the very least for Module 1. And then after that, there's various other steps, which include activating your SBS email. There's student admission surveys, university card forms, sharing details such as your headshot. You should have received emails about these. If you haven't, then you will be receiving them very shortly. So please don't worry. It all happens in stages. Not everyone receives that at the same time. I'd also like to mention that final step, circle number 6. You have the chance to complete the pre-reading, and the faculty know that the timing of that first module and various travel commitments and the end of the year, the start of the next year, it's a busy and hectic time for many people. Please make every effort to absorb at least those essential readings, and then you do as much reading around as you can to prepare for Module 1. But we admit that perhaps people might be slightly more prepared for Module 2 and beyond once you've got into it. But on Canvas, there is also a program handbook. And this is a really crucial document which Hilary, Jonathan, and her team spend a lot of time putting together. This is your blueprint, your instruction manual for being an Oxford student. And it also includes all of the ways that we can support you, ways that maybe you hadn't even thought of. So please also take time over perhaps a festive treat or a mince pie or whatever the equivalent is where you are, how you celebrate, to read that program handbook, and so that you can arrive knowing all of our policies and all of the ways that we can support you. There was a question in the chat which I'll answer now. This presentation is being recorded. The presentation and the slides will be added to Canvas so that you can catch up and continue to access these slides, all the information within them. Brilliant. So without further ado, I'm shortly going to stop sharing the screen. If you have questions for myself, Hilary, Jonathan, Pagan, and our team, now is the time to answer them. We've reserved quite a decent chunk of time for this section. So I'm going to stop sharing. You can raise your hand and ask the questions directly, or we can look into the chat. There's one question which I spotted. I'm not sure whether it was answered in the chat, but I'm going to answer it here, which is about the 2 actually. One is about the commitment in between the modules for reading and studying. We asked previous students what they think is a reasonable amount of time to commit to this program, and they gave us an answer between 6 to 8 hours per week. Whatever that looks like around your schedule is what we recommend. There's another question about interaction in between the modules, and really this is student-led. Really, in between the modules, you're completing this program as an individual. Your reading, studying, and assessments are done individually. But what happens both before and during Module 1 is that the classes develop various networks, WhatsApp chats, and all that kind of stuff to stay in touch. Various study groups spring up, and you'll find that you are probably in daily contact with your classmates in between the modules. There are also, as Jonathan mentioned, there's an added value section to this, which is an executive impact and executive insight series. These are run by other members of faculty, members of our careers counselling service, and they take place in between the modules. They're online optional sessions, which give you insights from our research and also practical career guidance. And so that is also something that you can engage with in between the modules. The chat is very busy and there's lots of questions being answered, but I wonder, did somebody have a burning question that they'd like to ask to the group? You can unmute yourself and ask it, or raise your hand and I can see. So this is the space for that.
Just to pick up on emails, your lifelong email address will be sent out shortly. So please check your junk mail over the next couple of days, and then get yourself set up with that. With that, you will be able to then access Canvas. So there are stages, and it's a couple of emails will go out. So please look out for those.
So yes, just building on what Hilary said, the onboarding approach for this diploma for all our diplomas is very measured. So after the welcome call, our IT teams will send out the information for you to set up your SBS email accounts. Once you've had a chance to set those up, you'll be sent out the links to Canvas. Canvas is our online learning platform. You will use your SBS email to access that. That will give you all the information you need to know about the program and about the module. You will also be able to access all the pre-reading through Canvas. I think, sorry, slightly distracted. So yes, if you follow all the instructions on Canvas, it will get you fully set up. We will then have sessions both with the IT team and with other course support in the school to make sure that anyone who has fallen through the gaps is picked up, so that when you start the program, you're in a position to focus on the learning rather than worrying about the administration.
Thank you, Jonathan. Yeah, in an ideal world, we make every effort to make sure that on day one of module one, you are arrived, you're onboarded, you're set up, you're ready to go. We admit that there might be the odd thing that still needs resolving. And so, yeah, I want to express or repeat what Jonathan said. You arrive and you focus on the learning. And then during the course of the week, we have an IT clinic in one of the seminar rooms, which you can visit. We have an induction from the library team and various other ways that we can support you just finalizing those final bits of onboarding. So please don't worry too much. There's a question in the chat about when does the course technically conclude? Really, it concludes when you've handed in your final assignment. That's the final thing we'll ask from you. You can then relax, hopefully, and wait to hear the result of your final assignment. And then it will be in the summer of 2026 when you return triumphantly to Oxford for your graduation end of course ceremony. So really, actually, yeah, the final thing you would do is graduate in the summer of 2026. There's a question, Johannes, thank you very much, about what does day one look like, which is very important. A couple of people have asked about, can you collect access cards before day one? The answer to that second question is no, but once you have started on day one, you have your access card for the remainder of the program for the whole year. So I appreciate lots of people want to get started sooner, but in the interest of fairness, we give all the access cards out when you have officially become a student on day one of module one. Please simply report to main reception at Surrey Business School. I think we open from 8 a.m. and teaching will start 9, half 9. So whenever you're ready from that point on, please report to main reception.
Sorry, Joe, if I could just clarify, it's the reception for the west wing of the business school, so which is the Thatcher Executive Education Centre, next to the railway station. As Joe says, if you come there, you'll be met by the team, and we will look after you thereafter.
Does anyone use what 3 words? Few hands going up. Yeah, so sometimes we send out communications with what 3 words. It's an app if you haven't used it before, and that's quite a good way to orientate yourself. So I will send out further communications. Obviously, there are different parts of the Surrey Business School, but it is the Thatcher Business Centre that you will need to arrive at. Leonardo, yeah, it's a great app. Thanks, Leonardo.
Any other questions? Any other doubts that anyone had?
Hi everyone. Hi, this is Alicia. Nice to meet you all. Just
Right.
had a small question. Is the course material entirely web-based, or is there any requirement to download a tool? Any specific requirements for laptops or IT systems to set up beforehand?
It's entirely web-based, Canvas, so you should be able to look at it on every browser. There is a mobile app, which some people can use, others can't. I don't know quite why, but I think it's generally supported very well on any device with access to the internet.
Great. Thank you so much.
Alex Gibson?
Hi. Quick logistical question. When I came to the taster sessions, like 99% of people had laptops in front of them. Is that recommended? Should I bring a laptop, or is it just kind of a notebook is fine? This is for the in-person taught sections of the course.
Of course, we're a modern school in an old university, so we're blending and fusing, wisdom that stood the test of time with new technology. One of our values is really sustainability, so we are hoping that we'll cut down on things like paper. However, if internet does go down for any reason, then of course we'll support you. But as a learning experience in lecture theatres, as well as on your laptop or any kind of device that you happen to want to use, is quite a good blend of receiving that information. But yes, if we would encourage you, yes, to bring a laptop.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex and Hilary. There's a question from Tom in the chat about how we grade the diploma programs. In brief, it's pass, merit, distinction. And I'm not sure I need to be any more detailed than that, but there is a very in-depth introduction from the assessment team during Module 1. That will provide an overview of what's expected from you in terms of completing and submitting these assessments, an introduction to the assessment system, but also what's expected of that team and how you can gain support. Hilary, Jonathan, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, there's people already asking about graduation, so people are already planning to pass the diploma, which is great.
The only thing that I would add is not so much about the scores, but about the process. So as you can imagine, Oxford takes academic matters very seriously. You will be required to submit your essay. Once you've submitted your essay, it will be double blind mark. So neither of the two faculty marking it will be aware of who you are. They'll simply have a candidate number. Once it's been double blind marked, there will be a reconciliation. So those two faculty will come together and compare their marks. If there is a meaningful difference between them, the papers will be remarked. Once that step of the process has been completed, all the marks will be submitted to an examination board that will review the class as a whole, and both the level of the marking and the distribution. The board will either deem that the marking process has been correct and fair, in which case the marks will be released to you, or it will recommend that changes are made. So it's a very rigorous process. It's a very fair process. It does take a little time, which is why Joe mentioned earlier, the release of marks for assignments can take up to 2 months. In terms of your student number, that will be given to you on the course and will be constant throughout the course.
Thank you. We have a few more minutes for any other questions. Hopefully everything is clear. I'm aware there's lots of information. I'm aware there's a few people commenting that issues with sort of IT related and email issues. A number of you might be having these issues. We are onboarding the whole class and it's a large class. So please don't worry, because these are very much, we hope, issues that will be resolved by the time we you will join the class. And it's quite common for these things to be happening as we're setting up the class. So please don't worry too much. And in terms of your access to Canvas and all the pre-reading, hopefully you'll have that very soon. Cheryl asked for a clarification on the total amount of time needed for pre-reading before module 1, which is, you're exactly right, very soon. I just want to reiterate, and a member of faculty said this on another similar event, that they fully understand that for the first module, there's perhaps less lead time up to that module. So their message is, please don't worry, just make an effort, especially for those core readings, to understand them and to take the time to understand them. But please don't worry too much and feel like you're coming unprepared. Module 1 is very much about orientation, and it will be the same for everyone in the class.
Yeah, I have a quick one, Joe.
Hi,
Considering the course focuses on AI for businesses, will there be any supplementary resources provided to deepen our understanding of the technical dimensions, such as methodologies for training custom AI models tailored for specific business requirements?
So we have a really diverse group of people and attending for very different reasons. This program, though, is where academic theory meets practical insight, and there's a lot of case study based work. There's also a lot of practical examples from industry, including some guest speakers each year, including many former students returning to talk about how they've implemented the program in their role, which is very useful. Module 2, the business of big data, is probably the one that is the most technical and is especially beneficial for those perhaps with a less technical background to bring you up to speed with these things. But it's tricky for me to comment too much at this stage because the program with such a fast-paced subject is being updated all the time. But Hilary, Jonathan, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
I won't step on what faculty will no doubt to welcome you with on the first day of module 1. But yes, in terms of how they have planned and shaped the learning experience and the journey that they will take you on, it looks very exciting and is well structured. So you'll be in good hands. That's all I am saying.
Thank you, Hilary. There's a question in the chat, and then Leonardo, I notice you've got your hand up. The question in the chat, which Jonathan is answering, is about dress code. Again, this is a please don't worry too much answer. The business school is business casual, so don't feel like you have to wear your nicest three-piece suit every day. You are very welcome, Johannes and others, to wear full black tie every day. We're not going to turn you away, but you don't have to do that. Regarding dinners, it's really up to the class each year. Often the first dinner, you're still meeting each other, just wear something smart. And then subsequent dinners, students choose to wear black tie. We even had a program where students chose to wear their national dress and celebrate the cultural diversity in the class, which was a very wonderful thing to do. But that's something for subsequent modules once you've met each other. For this initial module 1, it's just business casual. As you get used to being in Oxford. Leonardo, what is your question?
No, thank you, Joe. My question was just a suggestion, because I am part of that group that received an invitation to activate the account over the weekend. And I did it, the process, I finalized the process, but it didn't run so smoothly. So funny enough, I have access to Canvas, but my email mailbox is not working. Even though I got a message saying that now that I had activated my email, my Oxford email, all communications would go through that email. So my suggestion is just to, while we iron out those email problems, if we could still use the personal email for communications, that would be super helpful to make sure that we don't miss anything.
Yes, my first welcome email to you will go to your personal one, and thereafter it will go to your Oxford one. On a previous slide, we did have the IT help desk email address, which I'll send out to you. we also have an IT and Canvas orientation session booked in for the week just prior to your arrival in Oxford. So any kind of last minute teething issues can be resolved there. We also have the IT department who are coming in for module 1, and they'll be around to give you your induction session, as well as they'll have an open bar effectively for the lunchtime. You can come in and ask them specific questions, but we are here to support you. So our IT department are good at returning your emails and queries. So if I can't help you, they definitely can.
Thank you, Hilary. We have time for one more question. John, you have your hand up.
Yeah, might just clarify Leonardo's point, Hilary. So I spoke to IT this morning, for quite a lengthy period, by the way. We do get 2 emails, apparently, Oxford and Side, and they're very separate. I do wish the teams would talk, by the way. The Oxford one has come out. There's problems with it. The Side Business School has yet to be sent out to most of us. That's why there's a slight synchronization problem. But I think to Leonardo's point, it might be helpful on the reading list sent out to our private emails, if you wouldn't mind, whilst the Side IT sort out their kind of internal backlog right now.
So if
there are apparently 2 emails being set up. One is for Side, one is for Oxford.
So John, if I could just step in there. Oxford, as an 800-year-old university, has an incredibly complicated IT estate. Unfortunately, I think what we try to do as a program, we're trying to do on this call, is make it as simple for you all as possible. It seems that the university has jumped the gun with some of you, so that's unfortunate. And if there are specific issues, we can pick up on those afterwards and work our way through them to unpick them. As far as this program goes, you will receive a Side Business School email, a Side Business School email account. Once you've received that and followed the instructions to get that set up, you will receive access to Canvas. For Canvas, use your Side Business School account and email details to log into Canvas. There is a pre-program login for which you can use your Side Business School email details. Use that and your Side Business School email details to log into Canvas. If you do that, it will work. If you do that, you will then be able to access all of the materials and all of the readings that you need for the program for Module 1.
I actually have an update. The Side Business.
If I could just finish, Hilary, sorry. Some of you have obviously already received your university email account, your university single sign-on. That normally comes 3 weeks after you've returned your university card form. Congratulations to those of you who filled out the form and returned it. Those of you who haven't, something you need to do. But the university account and university single sign-on, I suggest you do not use in anger until after the end of Module 1. Okay, there's nothing you actually need to use it for that's essential to the program. And by the time that you've used your SBS account to get it set up, to log into Canvas, to complete Module 1, you'll have then had all of the briefings you require to be able to use your SSO without it causing hiccups. So for the moment, as I say, those of you who have got your SSOs, have the confidence to hold tight, wait for the SBS information to come out, and it will work for you. And we have the support in place to make sure that that happens. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I'm conscious I want to finish the session with a chance for you to start to get to know each other. So thank you very much for all of your questions. Please direct questions to myself and to Hilary during the course of this week. For those watching on demand or on the recording, I'm going to pause the recording